and on that date you shall be executed in a method provided by Florida law. You shall receive credit for 1,053 days.
It's so painful that some people in this world seem to think that I would have it in me to do.
As to count 2, for the first-degree murder of Kyra Inglett, Marlin Larice Joseph shall be delivered into the custody of the Florida Department of Corrections at the Florida State Prison.
The courtroom was filled with tension as the trial of Marlin Larice Joseph reached its conclusion. Onlookers, including the families of the victims, held their breath as the judge prepared to deliver the verdict that would determine Joseph's fate. The trial had centered on the brutal murders of 36-year-old Kaladaa Crowell and her 11-year-old daughter, Kyra Inglett, a crime that had shocked the community and left 2 families devastated. On December 28, 2017, the tragic events unfolded at a residence in West Palm Beach, Florida. According to police reports, the incident began with a heated argument between Joseph and Crowell regarding Kyra's behavior. Joseph, who had been living with Crowell, became increasingly angry over what he perceived as Kyra's disrespectful attitude. The argument quickly escalated, leading to a violent and horrifying outcome. Investigators revealed that Joseph retrieved a firearm during the argument and shot Crowell multiple times inside her home, killing her instantly. The horror did not end there. Joseph then pursued Kyra outside as she tried to escape. He caught up with the terrified young girl and shot her as well, ending her life in a similarly brutal fashion. The senseless violence left the community reeling, struggling to comprehend the loss of a loving mother and her innocent daughter. As the case went to trial, the evidence against Joseph was overwhelming. The prosecution detailed the events leading up to the murders, painting a picture of a man driven by anger and a desire for control. Witnesses testified to Joseph's history of aggressive behavior, and the jury was presented with graphic evidence of the crime scene. The emotional testimonies of the victims' family members and friends highlighted the deep impact the murders had on those who knew and loved Crowell and Kyra. The jury ultimately found Joseph guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder.
And on that date, you shall be executed in a method provided by Florida law. You shall receive credit for 1,053 days. As to count 2, for the first-degree murder of Kyra Inglett, Marlin Larice Joseph shall be delivered into the custody of the Florida Department of Corrections at the Florida State Prison. The
jury ultimately found Joseph guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. During the sentencing phase, the prosecution argued that the heinous nature of the crime warranted the death penalty. The jury agreed, recommending the death sentence for Joseph. The judge, after careful consideration, upheld the jury's recommendation, officially sentencing Joseph to death. As the judge pronounced the sentence, the emotional toll of the trial became painfully evident. The courtroom, which had been filled with quiet anticipation, was now overwhelmed by a wave of grief. The most heart-wrenching moment came when Joseph's mother, who had been present throughout the trial, broke down in tears upon hearing the final verdict. Unable to contain her emotions, she wept openly, her sobs echoing through the courtroom. The sight of a mother mourning the fate of her son, condemned to die, was a poignant reminder of the far-reaching consequences of the crime. The footage of Joseph's mother breaking down in court was widely circulated in the media, sparking a range of reactions from the public. Many expressed sympathy for her, recognizing the profound pain she must have been experiencing. The video served as a stark illustration of the multiple layers of tragedy that the case represented: 2 innocent lives lost to violence, and a family left to grapple with the consequences of one man's actions. In the aftermath of the trial, Joseph's legal team filed an appeal, arguing that the death penalty was an excessive punishment and that Joseph's mental health issues had not been sufficiently considered during the sentencing phase. However, in 2022, the Florida Supreme Court reviewed the case and upheld the death sentence. The court concluded that the nature of the crime and the evidence presented during the trial justified the imposition of the death penalty. The court's decision provided a sense of closure for the families of Kaladaa Crowell and Kyra Inglett, who had endured unimaginable loss. For them, the upholding of the death sentence was a measure of justice, though it could never fully heal the wounds left by the tragedy. The case remains a stark reminder of the devastating impact of violence and the enduring pain it inflicts on everyone involved.